The following is a presentation of the Fairfax Network.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos. Hello, welcome to World Tour Language Series and welcome to program number 18, Spanish program number 18 of our series. My name is Mrs. Ada, me llamo Doña Ada, and I'd like to welcome you to our today's objectives, which are as follow. We are having a new country that we're visiting today, and it's Peru. We're visiting Peru. We have secrets to success to follow. Then we will have more food words. And finally, we will talk about family. I would like to invite you to listen carefully because we're going to talk a little bit about this beautiful country of Peru. And in order to start with Peru, I invite you to open your workbook and look in the pages of our country, Peru. It is our last country. And think about Peru. If you were visiting Peru or studying Peru, or if you already know Peru or someone from Peru, think in terms of when I think of Peru, I think of people. What do I think of place names that I know in Peru? Of its climate, clothing, and food. And as I said before, since you have been introduced to other countries such as Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Mexico and España, see the similarities and see if there are any differences as well, and talk about it and write at that address that you just saw, write about it. In order to introduce Peru, I want you to look at this map, please. See, this is a map where we find Peru in the lower part of our map and all the bordering countries. We have Ecuador and Colombia on the north of Peru. We have Chile in the south. We have Brazil in the east, which is Portuguese. We have Pacific Ocean on the west. We have Bolivia in the southeast, shores of Lake Titicaca. Now, Titicaca is a very important lake in Peru, and we will talk about it in our next lesson when we touch again Peru. Now, I'd like you to please look at this map, and these maps, you probably find them, some of them in your workbook as well. This is Peru in our South American area. It is the western part of South America along the Pacific Ocean. It is the third largest country in South America. Peru is a fishing nation in the world. It is one of the among the world's leading producers of copper, lead, silver, and zinc. 2/3 of its people live in the city. And from Peru, you will know that you have probably heard the bird condor. A condor is a big bird, so big as a man. Its feathers are black. Its neck is very long. It has a thick color of white wings, especially very wide, and as wide as if two men could reach them to 12 to 14 feet. So I'm sure you have heard of the condor, and it is also in their clothing, in their typical clothing of Peru, you find also the condor characterized in their clothing as well. Look at this map and see the cities of Peru. Lima is the capital, as you can see right in the center, lower part, Lima. And it has, there is half of the population of Peru, as I said, lives in the city, so it lives in Lima, over 3 million people. Callao, it's a busy harbor. It has about 300,000 in population. Arequipa is the second largest city of Peru. Cusco, now some of you have heard of Cusco. This is the capital of the Inca town, where the Incas settled this marvelous Indian empire, and where the Machu Picchu, which is on the northwestern part of Cusco, is located, which is the sacred city. So you see, also we can see here the Ecuador again, the Colombia, Bolivia, and Chile that is also, and the Andes that is also bordering Peru. Let's take a look at its flag. Let's look at the flag here. The flag was adopted by the government in 1825. An official flag, or officially national flag, has no shield or wreath. The coat of arms, or the seal, symbols represents the Peru's abundant in animal, plant, and mineral resources. And we can see the seal in our next picture, the seal of Peru. And I like to also, now that we're talking about the flag, I like to add that I read that the Army of Peru, the officers of the armed forces, are among the best trained and the best educated in the world. And that's a fact that I have just learned, and I wanted to share it with you. Let's talk about the Indians of Peru. And we're going to go very quickly. The people of Peru, they are criollos, and they're all Spanish-speaking people. And the mestizo is the mixed Indian and Spanish people of Peru. Now, Peru has the most living Indians in the Western Hemisphere. About 2.5 million of Peruvians are Indians. And I want to start talking about the Chavin. See the Chavin, the top? Chavin developed the first known civilization in Peru. They had an art for geometric designs. The Mochica also developed other civilizations in Peru, coming into the Tiahuanaco, which is the original culture from the Lake Titicaca that I have talked to you about, that I just mentioned, which is in the southeast of Peru. The Chimu, these were a very, very strong Indians that built a large city called Chanchan. And Chanchan is near a place called Trujillo in Peru nowadays. It's on the northern coast of Peru. Now the Chimus were quite a powerful Indian culture, quite a powerful Indian settlement, and the Incas had trouble overpowering them. So what they did, the Incas, as intelligent as they were, they just cut off their irrigation system, water supplies, and that was the only way that the Incas could overpower the Chimu. Now, that I have talked to you about some of the different aspects of Peru. I like to start with talking a little bit of secrets to success that we mentioned yesterday, and I promised that I was coming back to it today. Let's start with talking about verbs. Now, I call it secrets to success because if you can learn these rules that I'm going to show you, I assure you that you will be able to conjugate most of the verbs that you find in the Spanish language. Because in Spanish, we have verbs that end in AR, and verbs that end in ER, and verbs that end in IR. Let's take, for example, the verbs that end in AR. What you do, as I said before, take away the AR ending, and you add for the first person, I, yo, you add the O to the verb, to the root. You add, for you add AS. For the formal you add A. And then for he or she, you add A. Now, if you go to the plural pronouns, like we, you add amos, amos. You add an, yes, you see it there. And then again, you add for the next following pronouns, you add an. Now, that sounds like a lot of information to absorb just by explaining. Let me take an example. Let's take a verb that we have been already introduced for many, many lessons, and we have used it, the verb llamar. Let's see that verb. See, llamar, if you take the last two words, the ending of that word, you take the AR, llamar means to call. So if I say I call, I say yo llamo. See, I took the AR out and added that O. And then tú llamas. Again, I added AS. Usted llama. You call, formal. Él, ella llama. He or she calls. And then we go to the plural of llamar, and we say nosotros llamamos. See that AMOS, amos. Ustedes llaman. Again, AN at the end. Ellos and ellas llaman. AN again. So look at that. we just took the AR out and follow with those endings. So if you memorize those endings and always think those verbs in AR, that's what it needs, you will be able to conjugate. And you know your pronouns, you know the verbs, and then all you have to practice is vocabulary. And you will be speaking no time Spanish, or at least understand. Let's go to the next form of verbs that end in ER. See, we have 3 forms, I told you, right? So AR we study, now ER. So what you do is take the ER out, and you add O, and you add S, and you add E, and you add hemos, and you add N for the next 3 persons. So let's see if we can have comer. Comer means to eat, and this is a verb that ends in ER. Now cross out ER of comer, to eat, and you say, yo como, I eat. Tú comes, you eat. Usted come, you eat in polite formal. Él come, he eats, and ella come, she eats. And let's see when we use them with the plurals, like when we say nosotros, we comemos, we eat, comemos. So see, we took that ER. Ustedes comen. You as a group, you all eat. Ustedes comen. Ellos comen when it's they in plural masculine, and ellas comen when it's they feminine plural. So there we have the AR verbs and the ER verbs. Now, I warn you, this is not in your workbook. So it will be a good chance for you to really watch closely if you have time to just jot down these rules. Let's go to the IR verbs. Verbs ending in IR, we do mostly almost like the ER verbs, but there's one change. So let's see. O, es, e, and look at the change in the plural. Instead of hemos, it's imos. Like IMOS, imos. And then N. So that sounds a little complicated. Let's look to an example. I chose vivir, to live. Vivir, to live. So take off that IR of the word vivir and stay with your root and add O. Yo vivo. Tú vives, you live. Usted vive, you live informal. Él vive, he lives. Ella vive, she lives. And let's see how we say we live. Nosotros vivimos. See, you stay, that root is viv and not IMOS. Remember that this is in the IR verbs. Ustedes viven, you live, and then ellos viven, they, male, live, and ellas viven, they, female, live. So please pay attention. If you really want me to send you again these rules, just let me know. Write to me, call me in the 800 number, and I'll be very happy to explain it again through a letter or in the telephone call. So just keep it in mind. And I told you, those are the secrets to success. You already know, I know you know your alphabet. You know your vowels, pronunciation. You know some vocabulary. You know rules of grammar like articles and adjectives and so forth, and agreement between feminine and masculine. Now you know the rules of verbs. Now, those are for regular verbs. The thing is, there are some irregular verbs like in any language, and those are a little more difficult. They don't precisely follow this rule. But as a whole, learn this and you'll be in good shape. So now let's go and turn our workbook to page 50. And let's talk about what else but food, la comida. And let's start with one that is really, really good, la langosta. Now, what do you think that means? La langosta. That means lobster, the lobster. And langosta in Spanish is female. So there. Say it again out loud. I want to hear it. Muy bien, mis estudiantes. La langosta. And let's go to the next one. We have This, you'll be surprised, is el bistec. El bistec. Sometimes we say el bistec without the pronunciation of the C. And what do you think is el bistec? Let's see what the pictures show us. It's a beef steak or a steak. So what we did is just take it as it sounds in English and put it in Spanish, bistec, bistec, el bistec. So practice at home. Let's go to the next one. This is very good. Oh, this is a given. Las frutas. Don't tell me you can tell me what is that. Las frutas. The fruits. Let's see now. Say it out loud. Las frutas. Very good. Las frutas. Now let's go to the next one. This is one of my favorite. El queso. I said I like this in breakfast with coffee and bread. El queso. Now, see that U? It's silent. So it's el queso, not queso, but queso. Now let's look at it one more time and see what we have here. Cheese. Okay, say it in Spanish. Muy bien. El queso. That U is silent. El queso. Just like the word queso. Now this is a nice one when it's hot and warm you want to drink. El refresco. It sounds a little bit like in English. Think. El refresco. Now you see the word, let's see the picture, and you say it in Spanish. Muy bien, estupendo. El refresco. Refresco. Refresco is refreshing, refreshment, right? Let's go to the next drink. And this is a very healthy one. La leche. La leche. And la leche means the milk. Now you say it in Spanish. Very good. Muy bien. La leche. Remember those E's are long. La leche. All those vowels. La leche. Do you see I open my mouth all the time? La leche. Now that we have practiced these food words, I want to take you into something that is very special because it means a lot in our life. In the Spanish-speaking countries, extended family is very important. It's a major role in our life. And probably when you heard, when we talked about the Aztecs Indians, you heard that the Aztecs, the husband family will move into his home and will live with the whole family together. So it was sort of an extended family, and that happens also in the Spanish custom. So let's see what we have here. Turn your workbook to page 54, 55, and in 56 you'll have two activities to work with. And this is la familia. La familia. Muy bien. Let's start from the top in the left-hand side. We have el abuelo. See, I pronounce each letter. El abuelo. That's the grandfather. La abuela. That's the grandmother. And then we'll go, that is the parents, as you see, the parents of el padre, of the father. Those are el abuelo, la abuela del padre, or esposo, which is the husband. And we're going to see those words again. Let's go down. El abuelo again, and la abuela, who are the parents of la madre, or la mamá. And when she gets married, she is la esposa. Now, all those together, it comes to be el hijo, who is the son. El hijo. La hija is the daughter, and we don't pronounce those H. And of course, we have el bebé, the baby. El bebé. Now let's see this picture and try to name them with the help of your workbook. Let's go to the left-hand side, not right, left-hand side, and we start with the father, the parents of the father. Let's start with la abuela, and then next to her, who is? Muy bien, el abuelo. And then down comes, muy bien, el padre, and la madre. And then down to the bottom, we have el hijo, we have la hija, and el bebé. And then, of course, we have el abuelo and la abuela from mother's side, de la madre. Who in reality are the parents, los padres de la madre. It's a little complicated, this family tree. So let's go into the words, and we'll start with parents. And we say los padres. So los padres de María, Maria's parents. Los padres. Now, if you make a complete sentence, remember you start capital L, and then los padres de María, and period. That's a complete sentence. Let's go to another one. Husband, el esposo. El esposo, like spouse. El esposo. Let's see the next one and tell me what it is. See if you can guess. Oh, that's a given. El bebé. El bebé. See, we have an accent there. Sometimes people can say la bebé, and it's perfectly all right. El bebé or la bebé. And let's see the next one and see if you can tell me. Muy bien, la esposa, the wife, because here it's almost like esposa, but it has an A, so therefore it is a feminine, la esposa, the wife. And let's see the next one, la madre. I think many of us already know that one. La madre. Or in Puerto Rico, we say la mamá, we say mami. In Mexico and many other places, mamacita or mamita. La madre. And let's see this one, el padre. We can also say papacito, papi, papá. There are many ways to say el padre. And let's go to the next one and see if you can pronounce it and tell me what it is. La hija. La hija. It's an H and it's silent, and then that J again, that again is that H in English. How confusing. H silent and then J is an H in English. So, hija. Say it out loud. La hija. That's the daughter. Very good. Let's see. The next one is el hijo. Okay, so that's the son. El hijo. Hijo. And let's go to el abuelo. Now all the letters are pronounced. El abuelo. That's the grandfather. El abuelo. And of course we have grandmother. La abuela. La abuela. Say it quickly. La abuela. See those two A's? They are all together. La abuela. Sounds like one word. La abuela. Abuela. And then we have the brother and silent H. Not hermano, but el hermano. Say el hermano. Hermano. And sister. Let's just change those words, those letters. La hermana. La hermana. And then we have here one that sounds just like padres, but is los parientes. Los parientes. And those are the relatives. How different from the English. Los parientes. But see, it makes sense, something like parents and along those lines. So it's los parientes. Jot that down. It is relatives. All these things, you may find them in your workbook. We have some more here that I like to share with you. What is that? That is la tía. And la tía is the aunt. And if you were to say auntie, you'll say like we do in Puerto Rico, we'll say titi. And then after titi, we say the first name. Like my name is Ada, so we say titi Ada. So la tía, if you're just saying the aunt, or if you want to say auntie Ada, you say titi Ada. La tía. And let's see the next one and see what we have. Uncle. El tío. Now, el tío with that article, if you're using only el tío, but if suppose you want to mention their name, so you will say tío Héctor, for example. That means Uncle Hector. Tío Héctor. So you drop the el, which is the, and you add their names. I have here some words also that I want to show you because they go along with uncle and aunt, and it's the nephew, el sobrino, sobrino. It's very new to us, isn't it? El sobrino. The next one is la sobrina, and it's a niece. La sobrina. Muy bien. La sobrina. Okay, let's finally go to grandson. How do you say grandson? El nieto, the grandson, el nieto. And granddaughter, you say la nieta, la nieta. Well, I hope you have enjoyed listening to these new words on the family side. Tomorrow we'll talk some more about family. I like to only show you one thing that I've been trying to show it in the previous lessons, and I've always put it away for a while. How would you say happy birthday? Happy birthday, we say Feliz Cumpleaños. Feliz Cumpleaños. Happy is feliz. Cumpleaños is birthday. Cumplir means to have more. So cumplir, and años is year, cumpleaños. So here we have this to think about, and tomorrow we practice some more along the lines of happy birthday and so forth. I also have a list of words on the language facts that I hope before our lessons and our series, and I can introduce them. And you can practice. They're not in the book. Some of these things are not in the workbook, but I really think that you should know about. It adds to your knowledge in the Spanish language. Tomorrow we will continue to talk about Peru. We are going to also cook a recipe, a very easy recipe that I hope you can follow. And I stress that the children, students, be always accompanied by an adult to do these recipes. We'll have a guest, hopefully. And for now, I want you to think Spanish, do your activities. There are many activities, and think about what would you like to write to me about. So for now, say adiós, hasta mañana.